Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you guys are new. Welcome to our second TBR video of the year. These are arguably my favorite videos of the month of the year. I love doing these. I love them so much. And obviously stuff has changed. I have a new bookshelf. If you saw my reorganization video or my new building bookshelf video, I am absolutely in love with it and I love the background now, and now we just have so many books to pick from. I'm very excited for this TBR because it was my birthday 2 days ago and I may or may not have treated myself to quite a few books over the past week or so in anticipation of my birthday, and so I figured a lot of those can help me create my TBR for February. And also, like, book buying is always excused around your birthday. I'm pretty sure that's like a written rule. We're going to be doing the same as what we did last month, and that is letting a TBR wheel choose our reads for the month. I love doing these just because I feel like, I don't know, there's so many possibilities on what we could be getting. I have about 12 prompts in here and we'll be picking 5 to 6 books to go on it. I am so proud of how I did with my TBR last month. I'll talk about that in my wrap up, but like, I did so well. I read almost all of them on my TBR and I changed the prompts every single time. I might throw a few of the same ones in, but I'd like to change them up every single month and just have really different prompts every single month. I think it's really fun. Pinterest helps me out a lot. You guys help me out a lot. So anyway, with all that rambling being said, I think we should just get into the video and pick our first prompt for February. And our first prompt is an anticipated 5-star read. I feel like we have a few options for this. Let me browse my bookshelves. Okay, I feel like I have a few options for this prompt. I don't know if all of these are like, I think are gonna be 5-star read because I am a very picky rater. I often give out like 4.5, 4.75, but I rarely give out 5 stars. Like, that is perfect to me. So I'm not sure that these will be, but these are like my best guesses. So number 1 is Wandering Wild by Lynette Noni. This is an arc. This actually comes out in April. I talked about this in my last TBR video and I didn't actually get to it in the month of January as much as I would have loved to. Like, love Lynette Noni. I've been loving her work so much. And so I do have really high hopes for this one. Some of her books have been 5 stars for me. So this could possibly be a 5 stars for me. It's a contemporary romance, I think. A contemporary romance, except our main protagonists are lost in the wilderness and there's a lot of adventure and tension in the romance and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like, and I'm pretty sure it's YA as well. So I feel like this will be really interesting. I'm really curious to read this. I'm hoping if it doesn't fit this prompt, it'll fit another prompt as well. Ember in the Ashes. If this isn't a 5-star read, I feel like it's going to be a really high 4-star read. Every single person I've seen who has recommended this series to me just absolutely loves it and has very similar taste to me. So I kind of am just like, I'm really curious to see what it's like. We're following our main protagonist, Leia, I think is how you pronounce it, and her brother is arrested for treason, and to get him back, Leia must go undercover as a slave to the Empire's greatest military academy in exchange for assistance from those who claim that they can save her brother from execution. So this just sounds so good. Like, I have such high hopes for this one. I am just such a sucker for like a YA fantasy. I think this is YA fantasy. The other one we have is The Blood Traitor by Lynette Noni. I started The Prison Healer last month and have been absolutely obsessed with it. I cannot wait to read this one. Very scared to read this one. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. This is the 3rd book in the trilogy. I'm just loving it. The Prison Healer is basically about our main protagonist, Kiva, and in the first book, like the very initial start of this journey, she is a healer in the biggest prison and she's pretty much doing that just to stay alive. Her and her father were kidnapped at a very young age and put into this prison. It's just a really interesting story. I really liked it. I don't know if you'd maybe call it like dystopian maybe. I'm not sure, but I've been obsessed with the series. Loved the second one. I'll talk again more about that in my wrap up. But I do have really high hopes for this one. The other two have rated super high, and I do think that this could be like, if it's perfectly combined as everyone tells me it is, I feel like this could be a very incredible ending to the trilogy. But yes, there's that one, and then there's also Kingdom of Copper. As I'm holding this one up, I don't think this will be a 5 stars. I do think it'll rate really highly. I really liked the first one. It was a 4.25 stars for me. And I'm very curious to see what happens in this. This is the second book to City of Brass, and we're set in Cairo, which is really interesting to me. I do think this will rate really highly, but I'm not sure if it'll be a 5-star read. So I feel like my best options are, I think I'm actually going to go with The Blood Traitor by Lynette Noni, which is the 3rd book in the Prison Healer series. Just because I am so immersed in this series, I really want to read it soon, and I have a feeling that this could be a 5-star read. I just have a feeling. So this is going to be the first book on our TBR. Okay, time for a second prompt. A book that is part of the top books of 2024. So I've been seeing a bunch of lists come out about like the top books of 2024, whether it's Goodreads list, whether it's just like a general list. And I've been really curious to like see what's on there and see if I've read any. And I thought if there's some that I haven't read, I should totally add one to my TBR. Let's just do Goodreads. Okay, so The Women by Christian Hannah. I haven't read anything by Christian Hannah, but I am really curious. I'm not gonna go through all of them, obviously. There's a lot of them. A lot of them I have read, like Funny Story, Bride, Just for the Summer. The Teacher by Freda McFadden was on there. That's bizarre to me. me. Okay, I think for this one we're actually going to be doing a Kindle book or something like that, or maybe I'll go buy the physical book because a lot of these I don't have. I want to do one in the like very top, so I am very drawn to The Women by Christian Hannah. I've heard incredible things about that, and I do want to start my Christian Hannah journey. I feel like I will love her. I'm just very scared because I know she is so emotional with her writing, so I'm terrified to go into that. We also have House of Flame and Shadow, which I do have physically, but I don't know when I'm going to read it. I need to. It's been a year now. It came out on my birthday last year and it's been a year. The only other one I am quite interested in is The God of the Woods. This is a thriller by Liz Moore, and I've been seeing people like just absolutely mind blown by this book, and it just really intrigues me. I do love a good thriller. I don't read them a lot. I kind of read them as little brain breaks, but this one is meant to be like absolutely incredible and just like mind-boggling, and I do love that. I do love that in a thriller. We are set in 1975 when a teenager goes missing at a summer camp, and the girl that goes missing is actually the daughter of the people who own the summer camp. And I think we are just going to get a lot of secrets coming out as we go through this journey, as we try and find this missing girl, which I think that just sounds really interesting to me. So I feel like I want to put that one on the TBR just because that, I don't know, that sounds really intriguing to me. A little bit of a different book for my TBR. Okay, our third prompt. A popular book on BookTok at the moment, or on Bookstagram or BookTube or anything. Basically a popular book that's circulating social media at the moment. This is a great prompt. I have so many that fit this prompt. Okay, out of physical books, I feel like these are the two that I've just been seeing the most on my For You page at the moment. Obviously it is very like curated to my taste, but these are the two that they just keep popping up on my For You page, and I'm really intrigued. So first of all is Cruel is the Light. I actually received this a while ago and I am so excited to read it. It is a YA fantasy and it is between demons and exorcists, which sounds really interesting. It says a brutal war between demons and humanity has raged across Europe for over a century. At its heart are two elite soldiers, Celine, powerful exorcist trained at the prestigious Vatican Academy, and foot soldier Jules, unrivaled in battle. This just sounds so much fun to me. It sounds like a kind of ultimate like enemies to lovers but YA setting, and I love a good YA enemies to lovers because, don't get me wrong, I don't mind spice in my books. Like I'm not gonna not read them just because they're spicy, but I do love a good YA book because I feel like there's more tension, there's more chemistry between the two. I'm just one for the Pride and Prejudice scene where like their hands touch and it's like sparks and fireworks and everything like that. So this is very high up. And then the other one I keep seeing everywhere. Obviously Onyx Storm is all over my For You page at the moment, but I'm currently reading that. Otherwise that would be a perfect prompt. But the other one is Skyshade by Alex Aster. This is the third book in the Lightlark saga. Originally was thought to be like the concluding book to the saga, but I think there are 2 more books coming out, confirmed at least. I am very nervous to go into this one because I actually really enjoyed Lightlark. Like I really liked the whole tournament aspect. I love the world we were set in. I thought it was really unique and really fun. But the second one, I'm just not one for love triangles. I loved the world again, I loved the plot, but just the love triangle was really bothering me. It was still like a 3.5 star rate. Like it was still good. I do think the love triangle continues in this one, and I'm not a love triangle kind of girly, but I do want to read it. I do want to read it because there are so many unanswered questions from Nightbane, and I know that probably a lot of those questions are going to get answered in this. I know that some probably won't and will continue throughout the saga, but at least some will, and I do want some answers. I think I'm going to go with Cruel is the Light by Sophie Clark. I just think I'm going to love this one, and it's been on my radar a lot recently. All right, our fourth prompt. It took me a second there. A cover with a plant on it. This is such a random prompt, but okay, let's see what we have. Okay, I have 3 options. One of them, I don't know if this is gonna really count. I grabbed it at first, but that's the Blood King. The second book to the Road King, I don't think that counts. They're dead trees. Like, I don't think that counts. We'll just say bye to that one. I also have Feybound. This has trees on it, very like deserty looking trees, but they're definitely plants. This is a adult fantasy, I think. I remember seeing a lot about this when it first came out, and it's pretty short, and for some reason I just didn't read it when like it first kind of, it was like everything was about it. I'm terrible at pronouncing these names. Yaren was born on the battlefield, lived in the battlefield, and one day she knew she'd die on the battlefield. As a warrior in the Elven army, Yaren has known nothing but violence her whole life. Her sister Lettel is trying to make a living as a diviner, seeking prophecies for a better future. When a fatal mistake leads to Yaren's exile from the Elven lands, both sisters are forced into the terrifying wilderness beyond their borders. There they encounter the impossible, the Fey court. I actually did not know this had Fey in it. That makes it very intriguing to me. The only other one I had was A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I love Rebecca Ross. She is one of my favorite authors. And I haven't read this duology by her. I've heard incredible things. I think this is like a cozy fantasy romance, a YA romance, I believe. I'm very intrigued by this one as well. How long is this? This is 450 pages. This is like only 400, I think. Bless, it's 370 pages. chances. I do really want to get this, so please convince me to read A River Enchanted, or at least get it onto my TBR, because I'm so intimidated of this book for like no apparent reason. So I think for this prompt, I'm going to go with Fey Bound. I do want to read this now. I didn't realize this had Fey in it, and that really intrigues me. So I think we're going to put this onto our TBR. We're now up to our 5th prompt. I think this will be our final prompt, depending on what we get. I usually pick between 5 and 6 books. Friend or book girlie recommended this book. Okay, this is a great recommendation. I feel like I always take recommendations if like any of my friends recommend it to me, or any like online friends, like my BookTok friends, my BookTube friends, they recommend it to me, because like I'm always going to trust their recommendations. I do have a few for this, but one in particular is standing out to me, and that is what we talked about before, Ember in the Ashes. Quite a few people recommend this book to me, and I am just, it makes me so intrigued. So I feel like this is a no-brainer, and I feel like I have to put it on my TBR. As I said, I'm really anticipating this book. I feel like I'm going to love it. I feel like it just ticks all my boxes, and I would love to start a new series as well, especially because I've kind of been finishing some of the other series I am currently reading. So I feel like it's okay for me to start a new fantasy series without being too overwhelmed in my head. Let's do one more prompt, because something I've been trying to do this year is not put so much pressure on my TBR, but kind of have it there as like my go-to books. Like, so if I don't finish it, that's okay. But this month, especially with that mentality, I've actually managed to get like 5 out of 6 of them read, which is really good for me. And having a TBR doesn't mean that those are the books I have to read, because I'm a really big mood reader, and just picking a stack of books to kind of have your go-to. You don't have to get to every single one, but just having like your go-to makes it kind of easier, and like don't put pressure on yourself to get to them all. But if you're in the mood for some of them, that is wonderful. So I think we're gonna pick one more, just because we're going with that mentality. The prettiest cover I own. I think I've got a few in mind for this. I have 2 top contenders after looking at my bookshelf. The first one is Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I just think this is an absolutely stunning cover, and I really want to read it. I've heard so many incredible things about this book. This is a contemporary fiction, and we are set in New York, which I find really fun. I've heard a lot of people compare this to like Taylor Jenkins Reid and all that kind of stuff, but probably a little bit less romantic. Just the way this author writes apparently is just absolutely incredible, and you just get so attached to her characters. She also came out with a new book recently that was like really loved, and I think it's Blue Sisters, so I really want to read that one as well. That is definitely very high up for this option. The only other one I like is, and like I just think it's so pretty, this is actually an ARC edition, so I'm not sure if it counts, Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen. This is, as I said, an ARC edition. This comes out in February, so it'll be out very soon. And I just think the cover is so pretty. This is a YA fantasy fiction, I would say. It is a romance. I do know we have romance, but I think it's more of like a time travel, multiple reality kind of fiction. It says they've loved each other in 1,000 lifetimes. They've killed each other in every one. So it just sounds really intriguing to me, and I do really want to get to this one as well. There are honestly so many books I want to get to. But for the fact that we have literally almost an entire TBR of fantasy, I do think I want to break it up a little bit. So I think I'm going to go with Cleopatra and Frankenstein. Please let me know if you've read this. I really am I'm nervous to go into this because it's so outside my comfort zone. So this will be our 6th book on our February TBR. And that is it. Let's review them. So first of all, we have The Blood Traitor by Lynette Noni. This is the 3rd book in the Prison Healer series. I cannot wait to read this. We then have God of the Woods, which is a thriller, and very intimidated by this one, but very intrigued. I think I'm going to read this one on Kindle. Cruel is the Light by Sophie Clark, a YA fantasy romance, so we know I'm going to be devouring this. Fey Bound, I am slightly intimidated to go into this one, but the fact that it's only 370 pages kind of makes it a little bit less intimidating for me. Very intrigued by it, and I love Fey. Like, I'm always sucked in by Fey. Ember in the Ashes, cannot tell you how excited I am to read this. Like, cannot tell you. All have been hyping this up in the comments as well. And then of course, finally, Cleopatra and Frankenstein. But that is my TBR for the month of February. I am so excited to go into this. I feel like it's going to be such a wonderful month. It means so much to me that you are here. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great reading month in the month of February, and I'll see you in my next video, which will probably be talking about all the books I read in January. So I'll see you there. Thank you again, and love you.